People think Burger King is dying because the Whopper tastes like wet cardboard. They're wrong. Burger King is dying because its business model was engineered to bleed operators dry while corporate Wall Street drains the cash flow. Franchisees buy into the dream of turnkey freedom, passive income, and a globally recognized logo, only to realize they have essentially signed up to be an unpaid manager for a private equity firm that takes its cut before the person running the store can even afford to pay their own mortgage. When you look at a massive fast food chain from the outside, you see billions in revenue, celebrity marketing campaigns, and drive-through lines that seem endlessly busy. You assume the owner inside is making a fortune, but in the franchising world, revenue is a complete illusion. Corporate takes their percentage off the top line, the landlord takes their triple net lease off the middle, and the bank collects their 11.5% loan interest before the operator sees a single cent of profit. You are the absolute last person in line to get paid, and in a failing system, that means you do not get paid at all. To understand how a fast food dream turns into an SBA foreclosure notice, you have to look at the exact contract franchisees signed before flipping a single burger. Most corporate workers burned out from sitting in a cubicle for 10 hours a day want out. They want to build something they actually own, achieve true independence, and create a family legacy. A fast casual restaurant franchise feels like the ultimate golden ticket. You do not need to invent a menu, you do not need to figure out supply chains, and you get a proven playbook backed by a household name that people already trust. It sounds bulletproof, but the moment an investor expresses interest, the franchise development team puts them through a polished funnel that makes burning through hundreds of thousands of dollars in life savings feel like a smart strategic investment. Before serving a single customer, $450,000 in initial capital vanishes into a void of upfront expenses. The process starts with a non-negotiable $35,000 initial franchise fee just for the legal right to use their logo and proprietary manual. Then comes the brutal reality of commercial construction in a retail strip center. Bringing 1,200 square feet of cold shell space up to commercial food service code absorbs a staggering $180,000. A commercial grease trap, heavy-duty electrical infrastructure, high-capacity HVAC upgrades, and health department mandated plumbing drain bank accounts before anyone even orders furniture. After build-out, another $75,000 goes toward commercial refrigeration, specialized cooking equipment, digital menu boards, and integrated point-of-sale hardware. Layer on $18,000 in municipal permits, architectural schematics, and legal reviews, plus $22,000 in landlord security deposits and utility bonds. By the time you purchase $25,000 of initial food inventory and exterior LED signage and reserve $30,000 in mandatory liquid operating capital, every single dollar of that initial budget is completely gone. Most middle-class professionals do not have $500,000 sitting liquid in a checking account, which brings them directly to the Small Business Administration loan system. The SBA 7A loan program is marketed as a benevolent, government-backed initiative designed to help everyday entrepreneurs fulfill the American dream. In reality, it functions as a high-stakes financial trap that privatizes all the downside risk onto the borrower while leaving the bank completely insulated. A $300,000 loan backed by the government comes with a variable interest rate that can spike to 11.5% when inflation climbs. Firmly, that translates to a non-negotiable debt servicing fee of over $4,200 every single month for 10 full years before paying for a single box of ingredients or a single employee. The ominous clause buried inside that loan package is the personal guarantee. When signing a personal guarantee with an SBA lender, the legal protection of a limited liability company completely evaporates. The bank is not just financing a business entity, they're legally tethering that business debt directly to personal life. If the restaurant fails, the lender doesn't just repossess the commercial fryers and stainless steel counters for pennies on the dollar. The personal guarantee gives the federal government and the financial institution the absolute legal authority to place a lien on a primary residence, seize personal brokerage accounts, garnish future wages, and drain personal savings until the debt is paid in full. They wrap a financial noose around a family house and hand over the rope. The real nightmare starts on day 31, when the grand opening hype fades, local visits stop, and the operational expense meat grinder begins to turn. By month 2, top-line revenue might look respectable on paper, around $45,000 a month, which averages out to $1,500 every single day coming through the door. To an amateur, generating over $500,000 a year in gross sales sounds like a thriving enterprise. Deadpan, but top-line gross revenue is a meaningless vanity metric designed to deceive first-time business owners. Serious, the real story unfolds on the profit and loss statement, where every single participant in the commercial ecosystem extracts their cut first. First comes the cost of goods sold, taking 28% right off the top, or $12,600 a month for paper cups, specialized syrups, dairy, and food packaging. Next is the commercial real estate trap known as the triple net lease. People think rent is just rent. In a triple net contract, operators pay a base rent of $28 per square foot annually, but they are also forced to cover property taxes, building insurance, and common area maintenance fees, known as CAM fees. Landlords use CAM fees as a legal slush fund to pass every single operational cost of the strip center onto tenants, including parking lot repaving, trash collection, exterior lighting, and sweeping services. That base rent of $2,800 quietly balloons into a non-negotiable $3,800 monthly real estate liability. Then comes the heaviest expenditure of operating a brick-and-mortar location in the United States: W-2 payroll and mandatory compliance costs. Operating 12 hours a day, 7 days a week requires one full-time general manager and 4 part-time shift workers, paid at $16.50 an hour. On paper, hourly wages total around $11,000. But once mandatory employer-side payroll taxes, state unemployment insurance, and non-negotiable workers' compensation insurance for food service employees are factored in, actual monthly labor expenses explode to $14,200. On top of real estate and labor, corporate franchisors collect a 6% royalty fee and a 2% national marketing fund fee, calculated strictly on gross top-line revenue. They do not care if a store is bleeding cash or if the owner is skipping their own paycheck. Every single month, corporate automatically debits $3,600 directly out of the operating bank account before utility bills can be paid. Then come the hidden friction fees that deplete remaining profit margins. Credit card processors extract a 3.2% swipe fee on every transaction, costing $1,440 a month. Utilities for heavy commercial equipment, refrigeration, HVAC, and commercial trash disposal devour another $2,100. To drive delivery volume, operators turn to platforms like DoorDash and Uber Eats, only to realize they charge up to a 30% commission on every order, effectively eliminating any profit margin on digital sales. Throw in local marketing, point-of-sale software subscriptions, and general administrative expenses, and another $2,500 vanishes. Finally, the SBA loan servicing fee extracts $4,215 every single month. When tallying every single expense line item against $45,000 in revenue, the final mathematical reality hits like a brick wall: a net monthly deficit of negative $4,455. An operator ends up paying thousands of dollars out of personal savings every month just for the privilege of working 80 to 90 hours every week inside their own store. Corporate survives on top-line royalties while the store chokes to death on bottom-line margins. Their financial interests are directly inverted. When losing $4,500 every single month with an 11.5% SBA loan breathing down your neck, panic sets in. But pride and financial desperation kick into overdrive. You don't just throw in the towel when your family home is pledged as collateral. You fight with every ounce of energy left. The first instinct is the most obvious lever any small business owner pulls when cash flow goes negative: eliminate human labor entirely. Firing the full-time manager and cutting shift schedules down to the absolute bare minimum forces the owner to step on the floor and work 80 to 90 hours every single week. You become the general manager, line cook, janitor, cashier, and inventory receiver all rolled into one exhausted body. Physical and mental depletion set in almost immediately. Waking up at 5 in the morning for prep work, standing on concrete floors all day scraping grease traps, and staying past midnight counting drawers and deep cleaning equipment becomes the daily reality. But cutting W-2 payroll comes at a brutal hitting cost to customer experience. Replacing a trained 4-person shift with one exhausted operator running between the counter and the grill causes service speed to collapse. Drive-through and counter ticket times explode from a crisp 3 minutes to an agonizing 20 minutes per order. Customers popping in for a quick lunch break walk out after seeing the line stalled. Food quality plummets because ingredients sit on holding tables too long while trying to reset POS terminals or unload delivery trucks. In fast food, speed and consistency are the only reasons people return. Trying to save $14,000 in payroll destroys the store's operational foundation and alienates the core customer base. When cutting expenses fails to turn a profit, the strategy shifts to aggressive price hikes and menu engineering. Corporate franchisors constantly push premium offers, leading many operators to raise menu prices across the board by 12% and introduce higher margin items. The calculation is simple. Selling slightly more expensive meals should cover elevated supply costs. What it fails to account for is the extreme price elasticity of the modern consumer. Fast food customers are obsessively sensitive to price thresholds. The moment a basic combo meal crosses the $12 mark, the value proposition vanishes. Regular daily customers who used to grab lunch 3 times a week stop coming altogether. Total order volume collapses by 25% in less than 30 days. Making slightly more revenue per transaction means nothing when you permanently drive away the volume needed to pay fixed overhead. Desperate for volume to offset lost foot traffic, operators pivot to third-party delivery optimization, signing up for platforms like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. Top-line numbers spike on paper, and digital orders flood the kitchen printer, making the store look busy again. But when weekly settlement reports arrive, the financial reality is devastating. Third-party platforms extract up to a 30% commission on every order. On top of that, operators are forced to buy specialized tamper-evident packaging and branded containers to satisfy corporate delivery compliance standards. Subtracting 28% for food costs, 30% for delivery commissions, plus credit card fees and packaging expenses leaves a net margin on delivery sales of precisely $0. You end up working 16 hours a day preparing hot meals for delivery drivers while making $0 net toward rent or loan debt. With savings completely wiped out and credit card balances maxed out, operators turn to their final effort, negotiating with financial creditors. Begging a commercial landlord for temporary rent relief or deferred charges yields cold indifference. Landlords point to 10-year binding leases with annual 3% escalations, fully backed by personal guarantees. Defaulting on a single payment triggers immediate eviction, acceleration of the entire remaining 10-year lease balance, and personal lawsuits to seize personal assets. Submitting a formal hardship request to an SBA lender to pause principal payments gets flatly denied. Because variable interest rates push payments past $4,200 a month, the loan is already classified as high risk. The bank warns that any modification to the repayment schedule triggers a default event, prompting the federal government to initiate asset liquidation proceedings against personal estates. That is when the cold mathematical reality of business ownership hits. Small business failure is rarely caused by a lack of personal effort or hustle. It is caused by fixed cost rigidity. No matter how many 90-hour weeks are worked, no matter how much sleep is sacrificed, fixed costs never change. A triple net lease demands $3,800 every month. An SBA loan demands over $4,000 every month. Utilities require $2,100 every month. Those fixed monthly liabilities totaling over $10,000 are locked in stone, completely indifferent whether the store generates $45,000 or $0 in sales. When structural fixed costs exceed operational break-even points, hard work doesn't save you. It transforms you into a captive slave, burning physical health and sanity to service institutional debts. When selling the business seems like the only escape, the financial catch-22 of commercial business contracts reveals itself. Listing the store with a commercial broker to recoup the initial $450,000 investment leads to a harsh truth. Buyers do not pay for expensive build-outs or POS systems. They pay a multiple of net operating income. Because the store operates at a net loss, the business is legally worth less than $0. Resigned, to get a buyer to assume remaining lease and equipment liabilities, the store must be discounted by 80%, forcing the owner to walk away with pennies on the dollar while absorbing a massive capital loss. And simply locking the doors and handing back the keys triggers a legal landmine. Abandoning a commercial lease allows the landlord to sue for breach of contract, accelerating 8 remaining years of a $3,800 monthly lease into an immediate $360,000 personal liability plus legal fees. Because a personal guarantee was signed, the landlord bypasses corporate legal protections and targets personal assets directly. Simultaneously, lease default triggers default on the SBA loan. The bank liquidates kitchen equipment at auction for 10 cents on the dollar, hands the remaining six-figure balance to the federal government, and initiates foreclosure on the family home. Closing down triggers instant personal bankruptcy. This individual nightmare is not an accidental glitch in the system. It is the direct result of a macro-level financial strategy pioneered by major corporate franchises and Wall Street private equity firms. To understand why individual store owners are dying, look at how McDonald's built its empire compared to how Burger King systematically dismantled theirs. Decades ago, McDonald's became a commercial real estate holding company disguised as a fast food chain. McDonald's buys the underlying real estate and leases it back to franchisees, providing massive cash flow leverage from property appreciation that allows them to support operators through economic downturns. Burger King took the opposite path, selling massive territories to multi-unit operators, investment groups, and corporate mini-conglomerates. Then came the ultimate turning point in Burger King's decline, the takeover by private equity firm 3G Capital. They introduced an aggressive financial playbook driven by zero-based budgeting. Under zero-based budgeting, every department and expense item is justified from zero every single year, stripping out operational support staff, marketing budgets, and store maintenance to maximize short-term corporate EBITDA. Zero-based budgeting looks magnificent on Wall Street spreadsheets. Cash flows surge, corporate overhead drops, and executive stock options skyrocket. But in physical retail, it is a slow-motion death sentence. Corporate stripped away capital reserves needed to remodel tired locations, leaving over 75% of Burger King stores looking outdated and neglected compared to modernized competitors. They stopped investing in core menu quality, substituting real brand value with viral marketing gimmicks designed solely for short-term media impressions. Wall Street private equity firms, real estate trusts, and corporate franchisors always win because the business model is structured for them to extract profits first. Corporate collects its 6% top-line royalty fee from every dollar through the register, regardless of store profitability. Landlords collect guaranteed triple net rent completely insulated from inflation or labor costs. The entire structural risk of economic downturns, rising labor rates, food inflation, and physical store decay is offloaded onto the individual operator who signed the personal guarantee. When the dust settles, three brutal rules written in financial blood remain. Rule number 1, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash flow is absolute survival. Showing $500,000 in gross sales means nothing if fixed liabilities drain bank balances into negative territory every month. Rule number 2, never sign a personal guarantee for a business model or asset class you do not control 100%. Pledging a personal home and savings means assuming all downside risks while corporate executives collect guaranteed profits off your back. Rule number 3, beware of brands owned by private equity firms utilizing zero-based budgeting. When an investment conglomerate acquires a brand, strips out operational budgets, abandons store maintenance, and relies on marketing gimmicks, the store operator always pays the ultimate price. Burger King didn't collapse because consumers stopped liking the Whopper. It was systematically ruined by financial greed, predatory franchise structures, and corporate neglect. Without extreme caution, the personal dream of business ownership and financial independence will be the very next meal swallowed whole by this very same corporate machine.